Welcome back, everybody. So glad you could be with me here today. Walter at the workbench. 5 tips to tear out free planing. Tip number 1, super sharp cutting iron. Make sure your blade is super sharp. I'm using the Lake Erie Toolworks Magna Cut in here right now, and I just honed it, okay? Just gave it a good stropping. And this is going to be an introductory video. All right. 2, take the thinnest cut your plane will allow. When I say thin, I mean thin. Now, I'm using my number 6 here. Typically, to reduce tear out, you would use a smoother. But because I have this nice long piece of sycamore, I thought I'd use the number 6. Okay? Tip number 2, super thin cuts. Don't try to get fancy and do full length, full width cuts. I don't care if you use half the blade. I don't care if you use a quarter of the blade. As long as you are getting the thinnest cut your plane will allow. Okay, tip number 3. Tip number 3, we're going to use a prop. Okay. Typical bench planes, smoothing planes, will have a chip breaker, or what's known as a cap iron. So your bevel down plane, your face of the blade, where the logo is up, and your chip breaker is down. If I use this chip breaker like this is right now, okay, and I'm on a cranky piece of wood, I'll get tear out. So tip number 3, make sure your chip breaker is fit properly, is shaped properly, and is brought down towards the cutting edge to some distance, and I can't tell you what that distance is going to be. It's going to vary on every job. Every task is going to vary. But you want just that sliver of fresh, sharpened cutting edge showing. And I can't even show this to you on camera, okay? It's just a glint. Look up the word glint. A glint of light will shine off that front cutting edge. So that's tip number 3. I've got this one set to a point where I don't think I would set it any tighter. Sharp blade, thin cuts, tight chip breaker. Tip number 4. And this one is a little tricky. Close the mouth, okay? You're getting a lot of tear out and you want to eliminate it. That's about the only time I will ever close the mouth on my plane. Typically, I don't have to do it, but if I did, I would want to close the mouth down, right? The space between the cutting edge and the front of the mouth opening should be tight enough to give you the chip breaking action, but not so tight as to cause you trouble with the thickness of your shaving clogging. In other words, it will hammer up against your chip breaker and clog. So it's a balance, okay? And there is one more trick you can use. It's not one that I use often at all, but I alluded to it when I was talking about the block planes. And that is the use of a higher angle, okay? These are operating at what's known as standard pitch, 45 degrees. What you want to do is get that front edge to go to 50, 55, 60, whatever. How do we do that? Well, we can't just adjust it. That would be neat. So what you do is you take your blade and you hone a micro bevel angle on the back, on the what we call the face or the back. So this in here, this front edge will no longer be the cutting edge. There will be a slight micro bevel. So what that does is you bring it close to the mouth and then you raise it up. And I guarantee you, you will see a massive difference in just 5 degrees. The downside of that, it will get harder to push. And you really should have a spare blade to do that with. In conclusion, and I bet you always like when I say that, to eliminate tear out, you have to have sharp cutting irons. Super, super sharp. And you have to be taking thin cuts. Your chip breaker needs to be set properly and tight to the cutting edge. And if you have to, close the mouth on your plane. And for those really, 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 really cranky woods, try a back bevel. That's what I just planed. Isn't that beautiful? Smooth as glass, no tear out, no chip out, quarter sawn sycamore. Isn't that gorgeous? So I hope this helps somebody. Please like, subscribe, and share, and head out to your shop. Super sharp, super thin, tight fitting chip breaker, tight fitting mouth, back bevel if you have to, but that's last resort. Walter out.